Chairman Jebik Maida-san, Chairman Keizai Doyukai Ninami-san, President of ORF, Dr. Samir Saran, distinguished members of the delegation of parliamentarians and political leaders from India, excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, konbawa, good evening. It is my distinct pleasure to address Raisina Tokyo 2025. I thank the Observer Research Foundation, the Japan Bank for International Cooperation, and Keizai Doyukai for hosting this event in Tokyo for the second year in a row, bringing a new address and a new home to India's signature foreign policy and strategic affairs dialogue. I'm also glad to note that this year's dialogue has put a special focus on the economic dimension of our ties, which is extremely timely. Before I go on, let me express a word of appreciation for the sentiments that we heard just now from Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya, before him by former Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga. During my discussions with several colleagues earlier today, I heard similar sentiments. India is deeply appreciative for the support that has been extended by Japan as we have dealt with the tragedy that took place on the 22nd of April in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir in India. While I welcome these statements, I also want to note for everybody's consideration that as we deal with the scourge that is terrorism, that doesn't distinguish and that impacts everybody in the world from time to time, that it is important not to equate the victim and the perpetrator of these attacks. Ladies and gentlemen, after a smooth ride spanning decades, the global economy today finds itself in somewhat uncharted waters with uncertainties at their highest in recent memory. First came the tremor of the COVID-19 pandemic. On its heels came the supply chain aftershocks, wars and conflicts, big, middling, and small, followed. And amid all this, trade and technology are being weaponized as never before. Every country is countering emergencies. Every continent is assessing contingencies. For governments, economic security has become as critical a policy priority as economic prosperity. And for business managers, just in case has replaced just in time. New diplomatic and industrial alignments are taking shape across borders for ensuring economic resilience and technology security on the basis of trust, a commodity that is itself in short supply. As a result, new imperatives of geoeconomics and geotechnology are upending the old premises and promises of globalization. What lies ahead? Can countries like India, with an enormous task of ensuring the development and prosperity of 1.4 billion people, trace the same path trodden by others in the halcyon days of globalization? In an increasingly fragmented and polarized world, how can India be a bridge between North and South, between East and West? What value does India bring to a country like Japan? And what values do the two countries showcase together to the world at large? These are weighty questions that our two nations and stakeholders, such as those present here today, need to ponder. I stand here tonight to make the case that India is determined to become a fact and a factor of stability in a world of turbulence. India's ability to maintain a stable macroeconomic outlook, to demonstrate political and institutional stability, to uphold democratic values, and to contribute to global public good and multilateral problem solving gives it both credibility and agency. Located at the geographic, demographic, and economic heart of Asia, India's choices will have ever more important consequences for our continent and beyond in these tumultuous times. Friends, India continues to be an attractive destination for global capital. Our foreign exchange reserves have surpassed $690 billion, and retail inflation has declined to 3.16% in April 2025, the lowest in nearly 6 years, offering confidence to investors and consumers alike. With a 1.4 billion strong population that is relatively young, with a median age of less than 29 years and a rising middle class, India is not only one of the largest consumer markets globally, but also one that will maintain this profile for well into the second half of this century. On the supply side of the equation, it also represents a large, dynamic, and talented workforce that can play a defining role in our planet's technology-mediated future. In recent years, India has made a strategic shift towards manufacturing-led growth to position itself as a vital node in global supply chains. The Make in India initiative, which started in 2014, has revitalized industrial growth by fostering investment in a range of areas, including electronics, defense, pharmaceuticals, and textiles manufacturing. The production-linked incentive scheme, covering 14 key sectors, is projected to attract $520 billion in investment and counts over 24 Japanese companies among its beneficiaries. India has allocated $10 billion to develop a semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem. We are also nurturing semiconductor-ready talent, which will supplement similar efforts by Japan to rediscover its traditional strength in this sector. As the fourth largest vehicle producer in the world, India is accelerating its shift to electric vehicles through targeted policy support, such as the FAME-2 scheme and incentives for battery manufacturing. This is an opportunity to recreate the India-Japan success of Maruti Suzuki in the new age that Chairman Ninami was talking about a short while ago. Ladies and gentlemen, to spur domestic and global capital, India has undertaken far-reaching reforms that foster a transparent, efficient, and predictable business environment. Foreign direct investment limits have been liberalized across sectors, including defense, insurance, and space technology, and automatic approval routes have been widened. Several states, including Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, have established dedicated investment facilitation agencies to provide single-point support to businesses. Between 2014 and 2020, India rose from 142nd to 63rd in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings, reflecting improvements in business registration, access to credit, contract enforcement, and property registration. And even though the rankings themselves have gone, India has continued to climb up the ladder of economic and business reform. The simplification of India's complex labor regulations into 4 unified labor codes has reduced the compliance burden while balancing workers' rights with industry flexibility. Legal reforms have done away with nearly 39,000 business compliances and decriminalized hundreds of minor offenses, reducing the litigation burden for enterprises. The simplification of the tax system through the introduction of the goods and services tax has replaced a patchwork of state-level taxes and created a unified national market, enabling smoother interstate commerce. India's insolvency and bankruptcy code has transformed corporate insolvency resolution by creating time-bound processes, improving creditor confidence, and encouraging responsible business conduct. The government stands firm in its commitment to transparency in service delivery. Portals like the National Single Window System now offer streamlined access to over 150 different approvals and clearances from central and state authorities, drastically cutting paperwork and the time taken to start a business. Digital tools such as MCA 21 and GSTN allow for easy filing, tracking, and compliance. During the course of discussions today with colleagues, I received suggestions for further business facilitation ideas, and I want to assure my colleagues that I will flag these to our authorities back in India. Friends, India's infrastructure development in recent years has been both strategic and transformative, complementing the government's manufacturing push. The PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan has integrated planning across ministries to align investments in roads, railways, ports, and airports, thereby reducing logistics costs and improving competitiveness. The Bharatmala initiative has aimed to upgrade and construct 65,000 kilometers of highways, ensuring smoother cargo and passenger movement across the country, while the Sagarmala project focuses on enhancing port infrastructure and connecting hinterlands to coastal regions. The Indian Railways is also undergoing rapid modernization with ambitious goals such as full electrification, smart station upgrades, and the development of dedicated freight corridors. Japan has been our preferred partner in urban mobility, with metro rail emerging as the new ambition of even second-tier cities in India. In addition, the dedicated freight corridor represents a new feature of Indian logistics. Of course, the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail corridor is our flagship initiative and could be yet another test case of our ability to work with Japan to redefine passenger connectivity. Aviation infrastructure is seeing unprecedented growth through the UDAN scheme, which is enabling regional air connectivity to previously underserved areas. India plans to operate over 200 airports by 2040, supported by integrated logistics parks that improve last-mile freight movement. Energy infrastructure has also seen impressive advancements. India is now the world's third largest renewable energy producer, driven by solar, wind, and hydropower. With an ambitious target of 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030, India is building a green and sustainable industrial base. Here again, India and Japan can write a new story together in domains like green hydrogen. Ladies and gentlemen, India is leveraging technology in a big way to craft efficient business and governance solutions. The Digital India mission has revolutionized public service delivery, bringing e-governance, online education, and telemedicine to rural and urban populations alike. India's national AI strategy is employing artificial intelligence to enhance productivity in sectors such as agriculture, smart cities, and healthcare. Since the commercial rollout of 5G in 2022, mobile broadband spreads have improved dramatically. Affordable internet access and widespread smartphone usage have democratized digital opportunities across the country. Taking advantage of this, India's startup ecosystem has boomed in the last decade, particularly in fintech, agri-tech, clean energy, and health tech, and continues to attract international venture capital. India's space program is another area that continues to break new ground with missions like Chandrayaan and Gaganyaan, and the opening up of the satellite fabrication and launch sector to private enterprises has amplified innovation. These are yet more areas in which Japan's capital and business applications can fuse with India's tech-powered innovation to deliver much-needed alternatives to the world. In parallel with all of these, there has also been a strong focus in India on education and skilling to equip our young population to be future-ready with the skills required for the new industrial revolution. Here too, India and Japan are already working together on some ambitious initiatives. Friends, with its strategic focus on manufacturing, digital empowerment, infrastructure, and global engagement, India is not only future ready, it is shaping that future. As the world reconfigures supply chains and reinvents global collaboration to deal with turbulence, the special strategic and global partnership between India and Japan can emerge as one of the most significant relationships in the 21st century, not only for its economic promise, but also for the close alignment on principles, such as strengthening the rules-based order, strategic autonomy, and sustainable growth. The expanse of our bilateral partnership is today reflected through arrangements in areas as wide-ranging as industrial competitiveness, clean energy partnership, digital partnership, semiconductor supply chains, infrastructure development, energy, space, food processing, science and technology, healthcare, and R&D cooperation. Our trilateral cooperation with third countries also holds promise, as seen in the recently launched India-Japan Cooperation Initiative for Sustainable Economic Development in Africa. In the field of investment, Japanese enterprises are awakening to the potential of India, as seen in the annual JBIC survey on promising countries for overseas business, where India has consistently ranked first in recent years. In 2022, our two countries had set a target of 5 trillion yen in public and private investment and financing from Japan to India from 2022 to 2027. Of this, 3.7 trillion yen were realized by August 2024, well before the halfway mark in time scale. We hope to see greater private sector investment from Japan and a manifold increase in the number of Japanese corporations operating in India. Businesses in Japan must also recognize the immense pool of skilled personnel available in India to meet the changing needs of Japan. We in India would like our young manpower to learn from the work ethic that made Japan an industrial powerhouse so that we can also realize our own manufacturing ambitions. It is natural, therefore, that our two governments are investing in the language and other soft skills needed to fully develop this potential. We also encourage Japanese businesses to diversify the trade basket with India by expanding into new sectors such as digital services, renewable energy, critical minerals, and semiconductors. A broader trade engagement across sectors will not only unlock new business potential, but also enhance economic stability, reduce overdependence on concentrated markets, ensure supply chain resilience, and strengthen long-term economic security for both India and Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, moments of disruption can also be moments of great beginning, but they need to be channelized and embraced as such. Both India and Japan are witnessing profound uncertainties as globalization enters a new phase, but India has the confidence to make it work for us. We believe we are fundamentally and structurally well placed to navigate this phase in partnership with Japan rather than in competition. The challenge before us, for governments and businesses alike, is to wake up to these opportunities of a new day. This will require deeper commitment, more efforts, and real perseverance. Together, I'm confident that we can build a more resilient, inclusive, and prosperous world. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.